It's time for our weekly adaptive tip. Adaptive skills are the skills that help our kids to be able to do the day-to-day things that make their everyday life successful, whether it's brushing their teeth, making a snack for themselves. Eventually, later on in life, adaptive skills are going to be things like balancing checkbook. But for now, we want to help our kids to get skills that are functional, everyday skills. Toileting comes under the heading of adaptive skills. Dressing themselves, brushing their hair, taking a shower, being able to bathe themselves, brushing their teeth. I may have said that one already. So a wide range of things. Taking care of a pet, gardening. These are all adaptive skills. They're the kinds of things that self-care, and taking care of the house, tidying up a room, all of those wonderful things. And I love to talk about adaptive skills because, first of all, it's important for all of our kids. I don't think there's a single kid that's out there that it's not important for them to get as good at adaptive skills as they possibly can. It's also an arena where we see ABA has been wildly successful, and it doesn't matter where your child is on the spectrum, that kids who have more than one diagnosis can make great deal of progress on adaptive skills. So super duper important, and most especially, I just think the adaptive skills are so important for self-esteem. I really feel like we're spending a lot of time talking about self-esteem today, but it's important. And you know, we talk all the time about challenging behavior and how it's all communication, and when we give a child functional communication skills, that we'll see a decrease in challenging behavior. But I think also giving the child things that they can feel good about themselves are really helpful at teaching everything. Self-esteem just cannot be overstated how important it is. So today's tip is about making a bed. Teaching your child how to make a bed. Now, I have here on our list of things that when we do a lot of the adaptive skills, it's going to require a task analysis. Because if you stop and think about it, brushing your teeth and brushing your hair and bathing and clipping your nails and making a snack and making a bed, these are all things that take a lot of different steps. And instead of being overwhelmed by it and standing in a room and saying to a child, I'm going to now teach you the 345 steps that are involved in making a bed, I'm exaggerating greatly, because on here we have that in the skills program, there is a 39-step task analysis. It's not 390, but 39 steps. That's a lot of steps. It takes 39 separate steps to make a bed. Now, could you do it in 25? I don't know. Maybe some people can, but if we're really chunking it down into very small amounts, 39 steps for a child to, individual skills for a child to learn to make a bed. And instead of saying, okay, I'm just throwing you in the deep end of the pool, now make that bed, how likely are we going to be successful if we do it that way? That's the question, right? And I know I have tried that way. It doesn't work. And by the way, it's not just kids on the autism spectrum that have trouble learning that way, right? It's a lot, and it gets overwhelming. So instead, what we can do is take a look at the task analysis, and in skills, it's already done for us. And we can pick a place on that list of 39 things to start. You can start with the first one. You can start with the last one. You really could start anywhere along the way. But we're going to do a procedure that's referred to as chaining. And when we do chaining, what we're doing is basically taking these different tasks in the task analysis, and we're going to teach one of them. And I personally like to start with the one that's the easiest, because that's how my child learns. But for your child, it might be the exact opposite. You might need to start with the hardest one, or the one that has the least sensory issues. But wherever, you're starting somewhere on the task analysis, and you teach just that portion of it to the child. But you do the rest of it. So you're going through the whole process of making the bed, but if there's the one part where you're teaching to, smooth the sheet, if that's the task that you're teaching, that's all you're going to let them do, the rest of it. So you teach that individual thing, and then you go through the rest of the process of it, but the child does that one part, and they get reinforced for doing that one part. And I'll tell you what happens when we do that kind of teaching. The child relaxes and goes, oh, that's all you needed me to do? I saw all this, which meant a whole lot to me, but I only have to do this. And I got reinforced for it. I got my reward for that. That's exciting. And then they're willing to come again. And we teach that one skill until they've completely mastered it. And then we move in a direction, forward or backward. Okay, so now we're going to teach the next part of it. So you're going to spread the sheet and pull it up. Oh, okay. And the child, because they know they're going to get reinforced and it's not overwhelming, then the child does that. And gets reinforced until they can do both of those things together. And now we add another step onto it. And it doesn't matter in terms of the big idea, whether you go forward or backward. It matters greatly in terms of how your child learns. So I don't want to say, oh, it doesn't matter at all, but find the way that is the most conducive for your child. Some other things to keep in mind when you're teaching how to make a bed is to vary the sheets and the pillows so that we're not just learning it in one way. And even if you have the opportunity to do it with different size beds and different rooms, sometimes the twin bed is up against the wall and it presents certain problems in terms of making it where when it's in the middle of the room and you can get at all sides, there are different issues. So we just want to make sure that we're planning for generalization in the beginning so that a child can make every bed, not just this particular bed. Really giving them the opportunity, having it be different sheets. We don't want to set our child up to be inflexible. So if you've always had the Buzz Lightyear sheets, make sure that you've got other sheets that you can put on too, so the child sees. And sometimes they feel different and they look a little different and they're sewn together a little different. We want to right from the beginning plan for the child to be able to accommodate that. And one of the greatest things that we consider is making a visual schedule, because especially when there's this many steps in a row, whether it's taking a picture of the different steps or doing a drawing with them and having it there so that they can look at it. All of our kids aren't visual, but a lot of them are incredibly visual, and to be able to see what the expectation of what it is and the memory of it, because sometimes it's overwhelming. So a visual schedule, you can get really creative with it, that it can be around a clock, all the different things, and you can just point to the ones that your child wants. I've seen some people do some amazing things. It depends on how creative you are. But it doesn't have to be something that overwhelms you to make the visual schedule. It can be as easy as, take pictures of you making the bed or your child doing one step and go to the 1 hour photo and having them lay out on the bed. Here, now we're going to do this, and then you're going to do this, and remember you're going to do this, reinforcement. And of course you would fade that visual schedule over time, but it can be something that can prevent being overwhelmed. Take it slow. Nobody's going anywhere, right? If your child is 10 and you're working on making a bed, and if it takes a year, but it's reinforcing for the child and it's not a battle, it's a year well spent, because your child will be able to make their bed and any bed forever. Really worthwhile. Make it fun and reinforce, reinforce, reinforce.